Where's your camera at?
You're the star, man. People don't want to look at us anymore. You know what?
Yeah. Sick and tired of that.
All right, we're here, Nashville, with Austin Price, Volquest, On3 Elite Series. What's up, Austin?
Guys, it's summer's finally got here. You right? I mean, like every year, I feel like we just kind of skip spring. We just kind of go from winter to summer, and it's the event of the late spring / early summer here in Nashville. Almost 50 of the top kids in the country here, and it's grown. I thought last year was a good set, but this year's crushed last year's set of kids as far as just like where they're ranked nationally, and to who's who, and top committed guys, top uncommitted guys, and a lot of top flight quarterbacks: Bryce Underwood, Julian Lewis, George McIntyre, Nico Iamaleava, some top offensive linemen like David Sanders. I mean, it's a who's who.
How many of these kids you think will be committing in the next couple weeks, you think?
Oh, I mean, I don't. Like, most of them, I think, will commit, sometime in July.
Yeah.
Like David Sanders, maybe August, but I think a lot of kids are going to be July, because you'll get through your official visits, basically the 4 weeks in June, and then you'll kind of probably take a week or two to think about it. The week of 4th of July has become like this popular week. I think it's, to me, I would never want to commit on like a national holiday,
Right.
But I mean, KD picked the Warriors on July 4th,
right,
which was the same day that T. Higgins picked Clemson over Tennessee.
I wasn't going to bring it up.
It was the same day. But I mean, Tennessee picked up a couple commits last year on July 4th. It's kind of come the new thing to do it right around then. But sometime in July for a lot of these kids.
Yeah.
Is that the one? Is there a recruitment that stands out that Tennessee really screwed the pooch more than that one?
I mean, there were several in that little stretch, right? I mean, like Tennessee missed on, Trevor Lawrence, but I think probably T. Higgins, because T. Higgins was just down the road.
Right.
And then he goes to play with Trevor Lawrence, right? That one hurt. I mean, he was on campus at Tennessee a week before, and, a lot of Tennessee felt like they were getting him. They went into that video thinking it was going to be just orange and white fireworks, and it was orange and purple. And I remember, because I said the whole time, I remember, Paul and Brent had kind of, said, they thought it was going to be Tennessee, and I was like, yeah, I don't think so. Something worried me about that one, and sure enough, when I watched that video, I just, and then, I was like, well, that's about par for the course at the time, and it was just such a blow, because, he goes on to become, what he's become, which is fantastic. I saw him last year at an Oak Ridge game, and one of my favorite kids I've ever covered. I mean, he's just a good human, really is. Last game I ever covered of his in high school, he made it a point to come all the way across the field to thank me for anything I'd done for him, cool. As far as just how I covered him, recruited him, or not recruited him, but how I covered his recruitment, how I, just kind of handled him on our TV coverage in Knoxville, and, he just a really good kid, and a lot of these kids that are, man. Yeah. I mean, very few of them are not good kids. Most of them are really good humans.
Yeah. When you talk about missed recruits, I'm looking at Ronnie Brown. I'm thinking about Cadillac the entire time. How did we fumble that one?
But I mean, in that same class, you also got Jabari and Cedric Houston and Derek Tinsley, and so you were in on this gross amount of running backs in that class, right? There was Cedric Benson that went to Texas. But Tennessee was in on 4 or 5 of the top 8. It was just gross, the success they were having with tailbacks at the time, because they had just come off at that run with Jamal and the Travises, and so much right now Georgia has a gross amount of tight ends. Clemson there for a stretch had a gross amount of receivers.
Yeah.
In hindsight, but at the time when he committed, you're oh, it's no big deal. We got Cedric Houston, we got Jabari, Davis, right. We got Derek Tinsley,
And then looking back,
you think in the era of NIL transfer portal that you still have to build a program through recruiting?
Yes, I think it's very important to do that. I mean, I think Dabo's viewpoint is seriously flawed, that you can't go to the transfer portal. I think that's dumb. There are good kids. There are kids that are good enough to go Clemson that were in the portal. To say that there weren't is just a lie. Right. That's just him standing on his stance and being too stubborn to come off of it. But I do agree that you still got to build it through the high school ranks, and that's one thing Josh Heupel is doing. He's cherry picking portal kids, right?
Yeah.
Whereas he's still building through the high school ranks. And I think you have to do that. I think, especially at certain positions, you can go to the portal more so than others. But, I think for the most part, you still want to build through that. I mean, otherwise you're just turning over too much. And in some ways, again, Dabo can be correct in some of those kids, or if not, I won't say most, but more than 50% are in the portal for a reason, right? Yeah. But not everybody. Not everybody's in the portal for a reason. Some of them want to get closer to home. Some of them, want a bigger NIL deal. I mean, I'm not going to fault any kid for going and shooting their shot trying to get paid. I mean, why not? I know if Brent Hubbs is willing to pay me more money, I'm going to take it. It's not going to be like, nah, Hubbs, you keep that money, buddy. You keep that money. You know what I mean? Nobody's saying that. So, I think it's never black and white.
Yeah.
Recruiting's never been black and white. It's been the perpetual shade of gray for years as kids got paid under the table. Now they're getting paid above the table.
Yeah.
And there's still shades of gray in a lot of ways with this thing, with the transfer portal and stuff. So to answer your question, I still think you got to build it through the high school ranks, but I do think you got to be involved in some form or fashion in the portal because I think that helps your program.
Yeah. Now, if Josh Heupel will give us an honest answer, who do you think he hates the most? Beamer, Drinkwitz, or Stoops?
Oh, man, I don't know. That's a great question. I really don't know. I don't think he hates anybody.
Right.
Does he get annoyed by somebody? Yeah, I can tell you that. He probably gets annoyed. But I don't think he really hates anybody.
Right.
I mean, my question is, I always put it this way. If so-and-so was drowning in the lake, are you going to stick your hand out to save them or not? And I think Josh Heupel would save everybody. He may not want to be in the same room as everybody, but he's going to grab them and pull them out of the water.
Who's the last one he brings on the boat? And is he still standing on business? No.
Look, Drinkwitz is going to do his thing, and Beamer's going to do his thing, and Heupel's going to do it differently, right? And they have to answer to their fans and their players and all that. And Drink had a really good year last year, and he is set up to have a pretty good year this year, right? And we'll see about Beamer. Like, he's the guy that's kind of limping into this year and with a lot of questions. Until he doesn't play either. So,
But even that game last year, there was some gamesmanship between Carolina and Tennessee just with the timeouts and this and that.
It was... And, of course, Beamer fakes a punt every time. And,
right.
Poor old Mike Eckler, I thought he was going to stroke out when they faked another one. If they played this year, I almost guarantee you Eckler would fake a punt if Heupel would let him. I'm not sure Heupel would let him, but he certainly would try.
Well, with the extension of the playoffs, Tennessee's one of those fringe teams that kind of pops up in conversations when you're talking about who can get in and who can't.
Yeah.
For Tennessee to be one of those teams, what has to happen? Is it going to be a depth issue toward the tail end of the season, or is it we need Nico just to hit the ground running?
For me, it's two things. It's you've got to perform well in September. Mm-hmm. You have this weird schedule where it's kind of slappy, neutral site in Charlotte against NC State, slappy on the road,
right? Bye
week on the road. That's through October 5th. So you don't have a meaningful home game until October 12th and 19th against Florida and Bama back-to-back. Boom, boom, right? If Tennessee starts strong and they're sitting there, let's say, undefeated when Florida comes to town, good luck to the Gators, right? If this was in Florida, I would tell you it still would be really hard for Tennessee to win. In Knoxville, it's a little different, right? And just who knows where Florida's at that time? Right. Do they beat Miami out of the jump? Maybe they get some momentum early, or maybe they just kind of go in the tank, and by that point, everybody's ready for the new coach. So I guess for me, it's how you start, and then from a X's and O's standpoint, from a personnel standpoint, to me the keys are Cooper Mays and Keenan Peely. Mm-hmm. I think if Cooper stays healthy, we saw what happened a year ago when he didn't. Not that Ollie Lane was bad, but it just altered what they wanted to do, right? And then Keenan Peely, I think, is the Swiss Army knife of the defense. He's the guy that really unlocks everything. He's the universal key because I think defensive line are going to be really good. I think they're much more athletic at the back end.
Right.
I think they're athletic at linebacker, but I think he is the guy. If he can stay healthy, he changes them in the front seven, which I think helps the back end.
Yeah.
It helps James Pierce.
Right.
It helps the defensive line. So for me, it's the health of Cooper Mays and Keenan Peely. If those two guys stay upright and play all year, man, I think Tennessee's got a really good shot to get to 10-2 or 11-1 and play in the playoff.
Will Peely be the one with the communication? Have they determined that yet?
Yeah, he would be that guy.
Yeah.
If they elect to do that, and I think they will defensively. I think we'll see offensively. But if they do that defensively, yes, it would be Keenan Peely.
But Josh Heupel, he's been playing it extremely cool when it comes to Oklahoma. It seems like he just doesn't want to talk about it at all. We talked to an Oklahoma guy last week. He said he is still beloved there.
He is.
The fans love him. Bob Stoops recently said most important player of my tenure was Josh Heupel. Will they do anything? Will Heupel ask him not to do anything? What's your thoughts on going into Norman?
He wouldn't ask him not to. I think that, we'll see if they do something for him. I think they should. I mean, meant a lot to Oklahoma, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they won the national title with him. Have they won one since?
Nope.
And he was the quarterback. I'm not saying he wasn't Peyton Manning, but his importance to running that team and
right.
being the leader of that team, along with, I think, Rocky Kalmus, right, on the defensive side of the ball, was as important as Peyton Manning, in a lot of ways. And so, they should. Again, the guy, I don't think he has any hard feelings towards the state of Oklahoma, the University of Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Now, he may have some hard feelings towards people, but he does not have hard feelings towards the place. I mean, you think about it, his mom and dad lived out there, his sister lives out there, his sister's husband is ingrained into the state. A lot of people think it's just a laydown if they come open that he'll go back there. I wouldn't call that. I think that he'd probably listen, but I think, he's made it pretty clear to me and some others, the Tennessee fans not realize what they have here? This is a special place. I get people that think I'm just going to run back. I mean, yeah, that's where I went to school, but I mean, it doesn't mean I'm just, this is a great spot.
Well, we worry about it, every time a spot comes open, we're like, oh.
I think it's just because Lane, I think, eternally scarred the fan base.
Yeah.
That, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
At the time, though, if you're Lane Kiffin, if you really sit back and think about it, if you're a Tennessee fan and you're Lane and you look at it objectively, does anybody fault Lane for shooting his shot? He's a West Coast guy. His dream job came open, and he felt like he had to go.
Yeah.
Sometimes, let's say like Scott Frost, at the time, or Mario Cristobal for that matter. At the time, it was, oh wow, it looked like a lay down hire. It's the hire you had to make, right? And it just didn't work. And it was the job Lane had to take. It just didn't work. But because of that, I think it scarred the fan base to now they're just waiting on the other shoe to drop all the time. And, I'm sure at some point they'll have something happen. It's probably unrealistic to think that Heupel and Vitello and everybody's just going to stay forever, But at the same time, it's why you got to appreciate the good times. Appreciate what you're going through right now. Because Tennessee went through the wilderness from an athletic standpoint for a long time.
Yeah.
And now you're sitting there and you're winning the SEC basketball. You're winning the Tennessee or the SEC baseball. You went to the Orange Bowl a year ago. Went 10-2 for the first time since shoot. I was just out of college then. I'm 41 now. I mean,
I'm watching tennis now. It's like,
people are into it. The golf. I love the golf team. They had a great season after they lost their best player to the Live Tour in January.
Yeah.
Went all the way, finished 10th nationally. First time they've done that since 1981. I wasn't born then. Neither were you guys, I don't think.
No.
Next year.
So, it's something where you just got to appreciate the good times, appreciate Josh Heupel, appreciate Rick Barnes, Tony Vitello, Brendan Webb, the tennis coach, Karen Weekly. I know people are mad because Karen lost. That was a bad match over Tennessee. I knew going in, if they can somehow survive the Supers, they'd have a pretty good shot getting Oklahoma. They would get to Oklahoma City, but they'd have a pretty good shot in Oklahoma City.
Oh yeah.
But I thought it was a terrible matchup. And I said, watching that extra inning game, I'm like, if they don't win today, I do not like their chances tomorrow. And then when they had that grand slam in the first, you're like, I don't think they score enough. Because they hadn't scored enough the whole series.
Yeah. You think the SEC screwed up at all? I know the Tennessee-Oklahoma with Heupel, it makes for a fun narrative, but it seems like everybody wanted Tennessee-Texas. And now we won't get that for 2 years,
Yeah, I mean, no. I mean, I think it's easy to put Tennessee, Oklahoma because they were supposed to play anyway.
Yeah.
You know, they were supposed to play non-region.
Like I said, there's a little bit of history, but I just think the battle for UT would be.
Oh, yeah, 100%. And I think everybody's looking forward to that when it comes. I hate that they're just flipping it a year from now.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, yeah, let's just flip it. If you're at home, now you're away. And,
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. I just
got a little lazy there.
I mean, I look forward to new games. I like that type of stuff. I look forward to being able to go to places more often. Like this, you know, the fact that Georgia has never been to Texas A&M is the craziest thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is. It's wild. How did that ever happen? That they never have been to College Station?
What's the other one? A&M
And the running joke
Kentucky?
is they're going to go to Austin before they go to College Station because they go to Austin this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously. I mean, like, how does that happen? You know, I mean, you could have fixed that even during the COVID year.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I mean, Texas A&M came here during COVID, and then they came back last year.
It seems simple, and that's the one thing that keeps, you know, Sankey, he was on there and they talked scheduling but you know, Sankey talk just extremely vague.
You think?
Yeah. Do you think in the next 5 years that we go to a non-game?
Yes.
Yeah.
I do. And, you know, I think the thing they're also watching, too, is like, what's going to happen to Florida State and Clemson? You know, are they coming in this league? Are they not? You know, do they go 9-1? Does ESPN's already getting 9 quality games, right?
Yeah.
Like Tennessee, NC State, Michigan, Texas. Like, they're getting the 9th game in non-conference play.
Right.
And in a lot of ways, those games are better than Vanderbilt, Texas A&M. You know, I mean, so like, if you're ESPN, do you say, I'll give you the same amount for a 9-game conference schedule as I did the 8-1 because I was getting the same amount of games. Now, if you want to go 9-1, see, that's the thing, because like, if they go 9-0, Tennessee, Nebraska, that's coming up in a few years, gone. Tennessee, Washington in 2031, 2032, or whatever it is, gone. You know, all these fun games gone.
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong. I want to kind of rid Tennessee of Syracuse and Atlanta and West Virginia and Charlotte. I hate neutral site games. Like, I love the fan experience of a good home and home, man. I loved when Tennessee went to Cal. I loved when Tennessee went to Oregon. I loved when Tennessee went to UCLA, Notre Dame.
Yeah.
You know, I wish Tennessee would go to Boston College. I think going to Chestnut Hill in September, October would be fantastic. I wish Tennessee would play at Wisconsin. You know, like, those things sound fun to me.
Yeah.
You know, and I think it would sound even better to fans. I mean, you know, like, they get to go and spend the weekend in some cool spots and do some fun things. And, you know.
You'd probably be down for a UCF so you can hit Disney.
You know, I get my fill of Disney. You know, I'd be down for like another 1990 classic in Anaheim and Tennessee, and we go to Disneyland.
Yeah.
You know, but, you know, hey, I mean, like, look at the bowls. I think the SEC has some of the worst like bowl destinations: Birmingham, Shreveport, Charlotte, Memphis. Like, I mean, nobody wants to go to these places.
No.
Would you rather go play in the bowl out in San Diego and play it? It's not called Qualcomm, but whatever, Petco Park or whatever. You know, and be in San Diego. Go to Yankee Stadium. Like, those sound like way more fun. Vegas,
absolutely.
Than Memphis, Shreveport, Birmingham. I mean, like, you know, I mean, everybody goes, hey, well, we got those Florida bowls. Okay, I mean, I guess. I mean, but like, that's good for 3 bowls. You got 9-10 teams more than that going to the bowl games in this league. You know, like, I don't know. I just think from the fan experience, the league could get in some better bowl ties that would get fans excited. You want fans to be excited to go to bowl games? Then figure out how to get better bowl destinations.
Absolutely.
Because right now, they don't have great bowl destinations. I mean, I can go to Memphis and have a good time because I know people out there, right?
Absolutely.
But I'm not going to want to spend more than a couple of days.
Yeah.
Like, whereas, like, if you take us to New York City, hey, man, I can go out there, take the whole fam, not take the whole fam, do some stuff, all the things. San Diego, great weather. You know, it doesn't matter what time of year it is. It's always 70 in San Diego. You know, I mean, like, Vegas, I mean, I just wish that there would be some better bowl destinations for fans. And it doesn't have to be 85. If it's a cool spot, like New York, people will go.
Yeah. Or even just other SEC stadiums. You know, I kind of like that with the expansion. You know, we're going to have some home games maybe in the stadium. So I think that's something we're probably not thinking about right now, but it's just another little bit of revenue. And then you're going to a small town, college town, check it out. So I think it's a win-win.
It is. I mean, again, I think one of those. That's why the home and homes for non-conference games to me are so fun. You know, I mean, I think that's why you brought up Texas. I mean, Texas fans will be excited to come here, like A&M fans were, like Oklahoma fans are.
Yeah.
You know, everybody loves. Oh man, I heard Tennessee's great. Let's go there. Oh, I heard Austin's great. Let's go there. You know,
go to Dollywood while we're there.
Let's go to Dollywood. You know, let's go ride. You know, by the way, while we're doing this, let's have a little fun. Is the slide winder not the greatest ride of all time that they did away with at Dollywood?
Absolutely. Well, back then, I remember the rules was do not lean into the curves or it will flip. You know, and
did you flip it?
No, but I've been around people that have done it. We did the I'll never forget. I was a kid. We did the what was the mine one? The flooded mine.
You're talking about Blazing Fury?
Oh, Blazing Fury. Yeah.
No, they did have the flooded mine.
No, yeah. This is the one that they I think they got rid of because there's snakes in it all the time.
Mine. That's right. God, that's even way better. Like that's the old Silver Dollar City one. I mean, there were certain ones like they had the Log Flume, they had River Rampage.
Kids don't even know these days.
They really don't. We took my kids last week. Not to get this totally turned away from football, but we took my kids last week up there because my wife. She got suckered into getting season passes when my daughter was up there for safety patrol. Yeah. For Grand Oaks Elementary in Anderson County. And so, she's like, let's go. We got the season passes. And I'm like, okay, let's go. So we get up there, and I'm like, I'm explaining to my kids, I'm like, you don't understand. Like, this is where the greatest ride of all time was, the slide winder. You know.
It absolutely was.
I mean, it was the best. Like,
now if I get on it, people are like, hey, I'll just grab the next one.
They don't have it anymore.
If they had it.
But I mean, like, they still have the River Rampage. But you're right, the flooded mine gone. They still have Blazing Fury. Week back or not,
I still love Dollywood. I mean, it's a killer. What's
your go-to food at Dollywood? I always went with the funnel cake.
Yeah, I mean, funnel cake. Go over to Red's Drive-In over there near the cars. Yeah. Get a cheeseburger.
Well, staying on topic there, who got fired after the Georgia game because they messed up Dolly Parton's mic situation?
I don't know.
That was probably the worst blunder I've ever seen. I've never looked forward to a singer. I mean, don't get me wrong, Lee Greenwood, great, but I've heard him like 18 times there,
That's right.
Seeing Dolly come out, this Peyton Manning walking her down, this was like the highlight. And, I mean, obviously the football game was not good, so at least let's enjoy some Dolly Parton. And then after that, I was like, somebody's got to get fired after this.
Yeah, it wasn't ideal. I mean, you could just tell, like, when it started happening, you're like, oh no. And was what it was.
Sorry, I really did take this off the rails.
You did. Hey, last thing I got for you, Nico, can he possibly live up to the hype this year? Because I feel like even if he has, like, say 25 touchdowns and 5 picks, I feel like a lot of people are going to be like, thinking that's not good enough.
No, I think people. Again, I think his ability to lead the offense, his ability to pick up a 3rd and 6, his ability to keep his eyes down the field when he's moving around the pocket and find a guy to extend the chains. These are things you didn't have last year. It was left, right, 80-yard bomb, left, right, 80-yard shot, left, right, 80-yard shot. I think they used the middle of the field a lot more this year. I think his ability to keep his eyes and he picks up on things so fast. He reads things so quick. I think that helps him. I'm not saying they're going to be 22 in terms of points and all that, but I bet you it looks a lot more like 22 than it did in 23.
Yeah.
And 2 names we've heard as breakout, Mike Matthews or Brazel. Who do you think has a better year this year?
I think it depends on how much Mike plays. I mean, he's going to play. He's going to play. The question is, how much, does he stay in there? Yeah. I think Kelsey Pope's also going to have a much bigger rotation. I mean, you got a couple of sophomores in Nimrod and Webb that, they expect to keep playing. They played at the end of last year. They expect to keep playing. Brews back. Brazel's in. Matthews is in. Dante Thornton was really starting to figure it out last year. He had that really nice game at Kentucky.
Right.
And then had that awesome catch at Missouri and, hurt his ankle. So like it's going to be that wide receiver rotation is going to be it's going to be one of the more interesting storylines, I think, as you head into the season. That and kind of the health of Cam Selden, and where's Peyton Lewis at, and do they give Dylan Sampson any kind of legit work during spring or during fall camp? Because can you afford to?
Right.
He's a turned ankle away from it being Deshaun Bishop and Khalifa Keith and Peyton Lewis, 3 non-proven, inexperienced guys, early in the year. To me, that's a bit scary. I think that's the one scary part to this team.
Is there a name that nobody's really talking about now that you think may be a breakout?
Oh, I think most people are talking about anybody that's, like Bryson Eason's getting a ton of play. The coaches talking about him the way they talked about Jalen Wright a year ago.
Yeah.
What about Shane always looks tight ends? Ethan Davis?
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting. Like, everybody thought you brought in Miles Kitselman as depth behind, Holden Stays and Ethan Davis, but all he did was go out and make plays all spring.
Right.
And I'm not sure they saw that coming. Some of those are the best, right? Where where coaches as smart as they can be, and they can be smart, really smart. Sometimes they don't see everything, right?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you didn't see that coming. It's like, whoa, wait a minute,
Yeah.
We should give
which
them
is a
reps.
good thing because it's not like they don't like Holden Stays and they love Ethan Davis. So, it's like all of a sudden you went from like this added depth piece to like, okay, we got 3 guys that we feel pretty comfortable with. So, I think all that's interesting. I'm interested in what they do at safety. You played Jalen McCullough a million snaps.
Yeah.
What are they going to do there? That's a big question for me.
All right, but we really appreciate all the time, Austin. Before you go, can you tell the audience where to follow you, where you find your work? Got any specials going on at Volquest or anything?
Yeah, right now, if you get on the YouTube page and you put in, I think UT1's the code, you can get for $1, you get the first 2 months for free. You can also, just come check us out, spend some time with us, talk with us on the general's quarters, and, get ready for the season. We'll have all kinds of recruiting coverage over the next month. This Tennessee will host a ton of official visitors. Right now, again, it'll change, but right now I think they're set up for 50 total official visitors the 14th and the 21st combined, which is wild. Now, again, that'll change by a little bit, but how much does it change is the real question. And then, we'll get you ready for the season, and just come talk Vols with us. It's always fun over on the general's quarters.
Hell yeah.
Yep, the best place for Tennessee coverage right there, Volquest.
Absolutely. And it's so funny because who's subscribed, because you'll get like a text. So I was like, damn, Price must have posted something. Because this guy definitely doesn't know.